This is Caroline Gentry with Enduati. We're here still at the EIT InnoEnergy Business Booster, the afternoon of day one. I'm here with a really interesting idea that could revolutionise passenger transportation with Mars Geuze, who is the Chief Commercial Officer of Hardt Hyperloop.
Thank you.
Hello,
Yes.
thanks for joining us.
Yeah, so the Hyperloop is a new transport infrastructure through which you can transport both passengers and cargo, and it's based on vehicles moving through tubes where they can travel faster than airplanes but with even less energy usage than a train. And how it works is that you just have tubes in which you have a low pressure environment, so there's very low air resistance, so you can move very fast with almost no energy usage. And the vehicles levitate and are propelled in the tube through magnetic levitation, so there's also no wear and tear and therefore very low maintenance and operation costs. And our vision is to build a European Hyperloop network where you can basically travel throughout Europe as if you would travel through a city with a metro. Almost every city connected within about 2 hours, and that for almost a tenth of the energy that it would use for aviation.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. At what stage are you at? Do you have a pilot going? Or?
Yeah, so right now we have a test facility in Delft in the Netherlands in which we can test every system at full scale, so levitation, stabilization, propulsion, the low pressure environment. Our next step is to build a high-speed test facility where we can test everything also at 700 kilometers per hour. This tube would be at a smaller scale, which is already also applicable for cargo systems.
Mm-hmm. And have you chosen the location for the centre yet?
No, right now we are looking for different places where we can build the location. We bring a lot of value also to such a location in terms of building up an ecosystem. And right now we're assessing where we can go the fastest in terms of permits, what kind of local ecosystems there are to connect with, and we would like to make that this decision soon.
Okay. And who is the customer? Is it the local government or the council or who's
so usually how transport infrastructure is financed is that it's usually public financing, and then the customers in the end are just the people who are using it. So that's also a very likely model for Hyperloop, where you would be building these routes in public-private partnerships, but in the end, of course, it's just the passengers who pay their tickets, pay it to an operator, and that somehow then also finances back the operational costs and the infrastructure.
Okay. So in terms of the technology itself, how does it work? Is it based on a sort of magnetic force? Or?
So the vehicles are levitated in the tube by a magnetic levitation system, which is also similar to the magnetic levitation trains that have been developed before, for example, in Germany. However, what we innovated is that we're also using a lane switching so that you can move from one tube to another without any moving components in the track. So that allows you to build an entire network where vehicles can merge in and out of a high-speed tube without having to slow down and without having to stop everywhere. So it's a combination of existing magnetic levitation technologies and some new innovations to really bring it to the next level.
And will you need to develop a whole new infrastructure for this, or will you be able to kind of use existing lines
Exactly.
or tracks? Or?
Yeah, so one of the biggest challenges to build infrastructure is, of course, finding the locations where to build it. And actually we can follow about 70% of existing highway and railway and still have an average speed of about 600 kilometers per hour. So we can relatively easy integrate this with the existing infrastructure system. And of course it also really needs to integrate with the first and last mile in the cities. Because the Hyperloop will never stop at your home, so you need to be able to integrate with the existing infrastructure as well.
Yeah, so it will be just like a train, really. So you'll have stations.
Exactly.
And people can just go.
And it should be relatively easy to integrate a Hyperloop with an existing railway station, because Hyperloop vehicles are relatively short, and they move at a high frequency. So you can have quite a small footprint platform that you can integrate into a railway station, so that you really can directly use the infrastructure that's already there.
Okay. And this, you think, will replace the aviation industry eventually, or what's the goal?
Hyperloop is going to be a sustainable alternative for a large part of the aviation. Aviation has a lot of difficulties in becoming sustainable, and Hyperloop uses about 10 times less energy. So a lot of intracontinental flights could be substituted with a Hyperloop.
Okay. And is this something you think that will be sort of limited to Europe, or if it's successful here, will you roll out to?
There's a lot of potential for Hyperloop all around the world. There's many routes where you can make a very viable business case just with a single link. But we really believe that we have the technologies in Europe and also the way to set up a regulatory framework and a certification here. So we're working together with lots of European partners, we're working together with the European Commission to set up that framework, and then we believe that we can have a system that's exportable worldwide.
Right, right. Well, I mean, it does sound like truly groundbreaking, so maybe we should just go and have a look at the technology itself that you've got on display here. Thank you very much for explaining all that to me. That was really interesting. So I wish you all the best and do keep us updated.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the show. Let's have a look at what it does.